The other occasion was the famous announcement, quote, Mr. Kurtz, he dead, end quote. At first sight, these instances might be mistaken for unexpected acts of generosity from Conrad. In reality, they constitute some of his best assaults. In the case of the cannibals, the incomprehensible grunts that had thus far served them for speech suddenly proved inadequate for Conrad's purpose of letting the European glimpse the unspeakable craving in their hearts. Weighing the necessity for consistency in the portrayal of the dumb brutes against the sensational advantages of securing their conviction by clear, unambiguous evidence issuing out of their own mouth, Conrad chose the latter. As for the announcement of Mr. Kurtz's death by the, quote, insolent blackhead in the doorway, unquote, what better or more appropriate finis could be written to the horror story of that wayward child of civilization, who willfully had given his soul to the powers of darkness and, quote, taken a high seat amongst the devils of the land, end quote, than the proclamation of his physical death by the forces he had joined. It might be contended, of course, that the attitude to the African in heart of darkness is not Conrad's, but that of his fictional narrator, Marlowe, and that far from endorsing it, Conrad might indeed be holding it up to irony and criticism. Certainly Conrad appears to go to considerable pains to set up layers of insulation between himself and the moral universe of his history. He has, for example, a narrator behind a narrator. The primary narrator is Marlowe, but his account is given to us through the filler of a second, shadowy person. But if Conrad's intention is to draw a cordon sanitaire between himself and the moral and psychological malaise of his narrator, his care seems to me totally wasted because he neglects to hint, however subtly or tentatively, at any alternative frame of reference by which we may judge the actions and opinions of his characters. It would not have been beyond Conrad's power to make that provision if he had thought it necessary. Marlowe seems to me to enjoy Conrad's complete confidence, a feeling reinforced by the close similarities between their two careers. Marlowe comes through to us not only as a witness of truth, but one holding those advanced and humane views appropriate to the English liberal tradition, which required all Englishmen of decency to be deeply shocked by atrocities in Bulgaria or the Congo of King Leopold, of the Belgians, or wherever. Thus Marlowe is able to toss out such bleeding heart sentiments as these. They were dying slowly, it was very clear. They were not enemies, they were not criminals, they were nothing earthly now, nothing but black shadows of disease and starvation lying confusedly in the greenish gloom, brought from all the recesses of the coast in all the legality of time contracts, lost in uncongenial surroundings, fed on unfamiliar food, they sickened, became inefficient, and were then allowed to crawl away and rest.